Hey, what's up everyone? It's Mark from Palm Customs. So as you can see here, I've got GT3 RS Porsche parts. What we're doing is we're basically taking all of this and we're building all custom carbon fiber parts for it. That being said, I know there's not a lot of stuff out there on like how-tos on things like hood vents, fender vents, different things like that. So I want to do kind of a little quick how-to on how to remove the stock pieces and install aftermarket pieces. Now the install is going to be our aftermarket pieces, but for the most part, most aftermarket is pretty much going to work the same way. So that being said, I'm just going to go over the tools to use. I'm going to actually do it, video it. You can just follow along if you're doing it yourself, and that should pretty much walk you through all the different steps without screwing up the paint or anything like that in your car. All right, well, I think that's pretty much it for the introduction, so let's get to it. All right, so these are actually the tools that we're going to use to do the removal. I just wanted to go over each one of them real quick so you know what to use. Most of these you can get at kind of the general hardware store, and then I will tell you the ones you can't, kind of what you can substitute with them. Now that being said, this is actually what's going to come out. This is the stock pieces right here. It's actually 3 pieces, it's not 2. Or 1 actually for that matter. Most aftermarket pieces that you buy are just this. That's it. What we are replacing it with is all 3 of these. But all right, so let's go ahead and get started with the different tools using. Now the very first tool, and the most important one you can possibly have, Mountain Dew. Why? Because why not? I'm just saying, do the do. Okay, all right, now to get to the real deal. All right, here we go. All right, so first thing, gloves. Now, let me give you a quick reason why and then another step to do. Whenever you work on cars, especially cars like these, always wear gloves. You definitely don't want to scrape anything or scratch anything, especially with your fingernails or anything like that. I know it sounds stupid. I know you think you're super careful. That may all be true. You don't want to risk it. Now, something that almost no one will ever tell you, but it's very important. Take off all your jewelry. All your watches, all your rings, all your stuff like that, take them all off. Because the last thing you want to do is be running your hand over something and your watch face or your ring scrapes a hood. It doesn't matter if you're a pro mechanic, been doing it 20 years, or this is just Jimmy on the block doing it in his car in his garage. Take all your jewelry off, take your belt buckles off, take everything off that could scratch something, all right? So next, what you're gonna need, basic painter's tape, all right? That's just, you can buy that at any Home Depot, it's no big deal. Some form of razor. Do not try and use scissors for this. Use some kind of razor or X-Acto knife or something like that. Next, we are using our patented carbon fiber squeegee. Now, if you have one, great. If you don't, you can go to palmcustomsllc.com and purchase one. They're only $20. Or you can get some kind of hard squeegee that it has a pretty fine edge. It's actually going to be cutting double-sided tape in a pretty tight area. Next, we have, basically, we use this for when we put carbon fiber down the molds, we can push it down. Again, some kind of really hard squeegee, it needs to be fairly thick, can take its place. And that's about it. That's all you need to remove the stock pieces. All right, we've gone over everything that we need. Now, let's move on to the actual removal. All right, so here we are with our driver's side hood vent. We've already done the passenger. So we're gonna start off by, you want to put the painter's tape along the crease line between the body panel itself, or the hood, and the vent. And then you want to take your fingernail and push down in there before you push down the tape completely tightly. So there, you'll get a nice crease in it. All right, and then you can just lay this rest of it down over. All right, and you want to go all the way around with that. And if you get some crinkles or bubbles, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. What matters is this line right here, okay? and you'll notice that the crease lines will actually meet up when you get to the edges. And that's what you want. Just lay the rest of it down. And you're only doing this just to protect the hood itself. All right, now this hood's been PPF'd, but with that, you still want to do this. You just want to take as much precaution as possible, especially if it's your personal car and you clearly don't want to scratch that up. All right, so there you go. Voila. Now, take your knife or some kind of razor and with a very steady hand, go along that crease line. Now, you don't want to point out towards the paint. You want to point in, okay? You want to go around the edge as smoothly as you can. All right, once that's done, what you want to do is take off the inside tape, leaving the outside covering the paint. You'll see why in a second. All right. Now you've got all the paint covered in the surrounding area, and if you really want to make sure you're super duper protecting the paint, go ahead and throw another outside piece on there. Now for this next step, you want to use either our patented carbon fiber squeegee or some form of very sharp edge squeegee. Because what you want to do, and if you're using the carbon fiber squeegee, make sure to flip it over, all right? The very smooth side, you want that facing down. And what you're going to do is start in the back and get underneath it. And basically all you're doing is cutting the double-sided tape, all right? And you're gonna have to use a little bit of force, but that's okay. You're not gonna damage anything. You are just cutting the double-sided tape. And you wanna put a little bit of bend on. Now I can do this with a carbon fiber one. With a really stiff regular squeegee, you might have trouble doing that. All right, when you got a little bit of that, you want to put that underneath there. And again, this is where, if you don't have one of these, you want some form of thick squeegee. And you want to be very careful not to break this piece. I mean, I guess you can if you're changing it out, but I prefer not to break things. Now what you don't want to do is try and use a knife in here. You will cut the paint if you do that. Or even worse, chip the piece. There it goes. All right. See, and that's why we use the tape. That to release, and about now you can probably go ahead and set the squeegee to the side and do the rest with this. And go ahead and put your hand underneath there and then start kind of just holding it up, applying some pressure. So as this goes, it'll just lift right off. Okay, good. And pull forward a little bit and up and out. There you go. That is how to remove the top part of the vent. So next I will flip the hood over and we will do the bottom side. All right, now here's the bottom portion of the vent. Now, if your hood is still on the car, that's okay. This really isn't difficult to get to. If it's not on the car, I recommend doing like I did and basically just putting down some form of bubble wrap or something like that, just to keep the top of the hood, you know, scratch free and all that. All right, this is pretty much the exact same as the other side. All you're really gonna need here are your two trusty squeegee and trusty whatever you end up using. All right. So same thing. Make sure again this is pointed down. See if that's enough to get underneath there. It is. Move that, and then just go around. Voila, the bottom piece is out. Now all you have to do to remove the second piece from this piece is just this little clip right here, this little clip right here, and there you go, just pops right off. All right everyone, I know that was a pretty quick video, but it really doesn't take much to take those things out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, pretty straightforward. Again, if you would like one of our patented carbon fiber squeegees, feel free to go to palmcustomsllc.com. We have them on there and many other parts. All right, next video will be us installing that, reinstalling the new carbon fiber pieces on the hood, and then we're gonna do how-tos on the front bumper, fender, all that sort of stuff. All right, guys, well, that's it for me. I am Mark from Palm Customs, and I am DONE done. Peace.